I am Michelle McNall with ABC Home Healthcare Professionals. I'm the Business Development Manager here, and I am very excited for this video in our ABC video series to be able to share some really awesome information with clients, prospective clients, and anyone who is just interested in learning more about what kind of resources are out there if you have been scammed. Also, just kind of an update on how people can stay ahead of the latest scams. We know that they're always changing. So I'm going to hand over the floor to you, Danielle, from the Better Business Bureau, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and then just talking a little bit about scams, because you are the knower of all things in that department. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Like you said, my name is Danielle Bass. I am our Community Relations Manager with the Better Business Bureau. I've been with them for going on 4 years now, and I give hundreds of these presentations each year, getting out into the community, educating on scams, fraud, BBB 101, just what resources are out there. And today we're going to talk a lot about scams, mainly tax scams, because it's tax season. So we're going to see a lot of those pop up, and they're really confusing. You'll get calls from people that sound like they're from the IRS, they're from a tax agency. They want to help you, file your taxes, and people don't really know what to look for or how to make sure that's legitimate. Right. Common tax scams we see popping up are the ones where either someone has used your Social Security and filed for taxes for you. So you either get a letter in the mail or a notification saying that someone's received your tax returns. Be sure to verify those. That's probably the number one thing I can say with any type of scam. Verify, verify, verify before you act on it. So if you receive a letter that looks legitimate saying someone's, received your tax scam, someone's trying to file them, take those steps to A, verify that that's a real thing, and then B, how to go about it. So you're basically going to try to avoid that in the future. But if it happens to you, you can report it straight to the IRS and go through them. That's the easiest way because they're going to help you with those tax returns.
When you say to verify, a lot of times people might get a letter in the mail and it has, an address, it has a phone number. And so would you suggest them not calling the information that might be on that letter and just call the IRS directly? Or what, how can people verify the legitimacy of these letters or emails and things?
Absolutely. So letters we typically see to be something that's more legitimate than, say, a phone call or an email, but you still want to take those extra steps, especially if it's asking you to, call this number and give up your Social Security, give up your bank account information, anything like that. And you can do that straight through the Better Business Bureau. We have over 6 million business profiles listed with us. If you're looking for direct contact information, whether it be the IRS or just your local restaurant, if you're receiving something that's asking for your personal information, it looks legitimate, it's something you're obviously nervous about, if someone filed tax returns in your name, or you get a letter or an email or anything like that. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to verify an email in a second, but you can sometimes we'll get tax scams where it'll say, hey, we'll help you submit your tax returns for free, click here, different things like that. Verify that that's legitimate business, that they are actually doing that promotion, something like that. And you can do that whether you call the Better Business contact information or verify that they're actually a business, or you can go right to our website, type their name in and where you're located, and we'll pull up that information for you and you can call directly. It's worth taking those couple extra steps to verify, because it's going to take hours and hours and hours of your life afterwards if something does happen and it is a scam. For those tax scams, to kind of avoid them as we go into tax season, something I'd say is file as early as you can. That way it doesn't give scammers a chance to file for you, and then continue to verify. So if you are looking for a service to help you do your tax returns, to pull information from anything like that, just make sure you're going through a trusted business or tax accountant, and you can find those on Better Business Bureau if you're looking for them. It's definitely a scary time and people get really overwhelmed. And like I mentioned, email scams are something we're seeing more and more email, text, phone, and people are really smart to the fact that they're out there, but just they're not sure how to verify those kind of things. Look for telltale signs.
It's amazing how smart these scammers are because they make it look so legitimate. So it's very hard for even the most discerning reader or, email recipient to be able to tell the difference.
Absolutely. I'll get some all the time that come in from, Amazon, a lookalike bank account, different things like that, that if I'm not looking carefully, or maybe I'm just looking at my cell phone, so I'm just scrolling quick rather than like a desktop computer where it's up big for me, I might not notice some of the things. But what I look for in an email, if it's asking me to verify an account, you have a unwanted charge on your bank account, anything like that, where it wants me to click a link and verify something, or, you got chosen for $100 off at, Macy's. I'm not knocking Macy's, but we received those emails. Before you get excited and click those things, verify. So you can look by, if it's a Bank of American email and that's your bank, check that the colors they're using are the colors you always receive. Check that it is formatted like typical. Check the spelling and the grammar. These are typically very large companies, and they double check these emails before they send you in. So they're not going to use your incorrectly. They're going to use them correctly, and they're going to spell everything correct. And then one nice thing about emails is you can see the sender. So I always expand the sender, so you can either take your cursor and scroll over it on your phone. You can click it and it'll show you the entire address, because typically on an email, when it comes in, you just see kind of that beginning portion. You don't see like the @ and everything else. So it might look like Bank of America @ and you say, oh, that looks like I typically get emails, and that's the usual email I receive it from. But when you expand it, instead of saying Bank of America @ customerservice.com, it says Bank of America @ customer with a 0 instead of an O, service with 2 E's, .uk.abc. half the numeric alphabet after it. So that's a pretty much telltale sign that is a scammer. If you're receiving emails, they should all be coming from, your same customer service email, your generic, Amazon @ customerservice.com. They pay a lot of money to have those emails, nice and short and sweet. They won't have big, long ones from Gmail if it's, a bank reaching out to you or something like that. They're going to have their own email. And if you're not sure, do not click anything, links like that, especially if it's asking for your information. Reach out to that entity directly. Like we said earlier, you can find them on the Better Business Bureau website. You can go, if it's your bank, to the back of your bank card and call that customer service number. It's going to take a couple extra minutes out of your day, but just calling and verifying, hey, did you send me this promotion? Did you send me this email? Is there a problem with my bank, my Amazon account, whatever it may be that they're asking? Taking that extra couple minutes to speak to someone and verify is worth it, because if it's a legit email, they'll say, yes, actually, we did have a problem. Let's, fix it right now. If it's not, they're going to say, nope, we're all set. We did not send you an email. Did you click something, ma'am? And you'll go through the steps of resetting your password and different things like that.
Right. And I think that another thing too, you make a good point of, call the entity and let them know. You really have to think an entity would want to know if someone is receiving these, emails or promotions or things like that, because that's going to trigger them to have to loop in their technology department and security department and make sure that they're maybe getting the proper communications out to, folks so that they don't fall victim to the same kind of scam. I know that it's really hard because a lot of people, if they fall for a scam, they obviously are a victim, and then they feel kind of ashamed. But realistically, they're not alone. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I have almost fallen victim to umpteen Amazon calls saying, oh, you ordered 18 iPads and, is this a valid charge? And I was like, wait, what? And I almost clicked. But then I did exactly what you said, and I called Amazon. But it's like, how many people, I almost fell for that. How many people fall for that? It doesn't, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just they're getting really smart.
No, scammers are not targeting. Sometimes it feels like we're being targeted if we receive so many of those fake emails, fake phone calls, text messages, but they are not. It is solely a numbers game. And with scams like that, just like you said, they're trying to get you when you're emotions are heightened, because then your red flags, you don't notice them as much because we're smart to scams. We know they're out there. But when they say, you've won $100, your electricity is going to be shut off in 10 minutes. You forgot to update your payment through National Grid or whoever it is they're scamming. Give me your credit card number right now. We're going to shut it off. They always get you in some type of heightened state, whether they get you scared about something, excited, nervous. You're like, oh my goodness, did I order 18 iPads accidentally? Like I was just trying to order one, or, did someone get into my account? And you want to just verify that because you think it's legitimate. Take a step back and let that sink in. Hear what they're asking you. If a scammer, one of the common tricks is they want you to do it urgently. It's urgent. You have to give them your social security. You have to give them a method of payment. They're really trying to get you to do it quickly before your, normal red flags can pop up, and you can kind of say, this doesn't sound right. So I always tell people, it's hard to be impolite, but it's okay. If you need to hang up on them, if you need to delete the email, if you need to take a step back, nothing is that urgent that it can't take a couple seconds for you to then go ahead and verify and call them back, reach back out, however you're communicating with them.
Exactly. And I think that, you bring up a good point as well about being heightened emotionally. So in a state of heightened emotions, and they want you to act. And so that kind of plays into one of the most well-known scams happens after natural disasters or crises, right? So a lot of American Red Cross does so much, but if a scammer is trying to get in contact with someone after an earthquake and say, oh, donate to earthquake relief. And do you have any good telltale ways before you start donating to verify the legitimacy of that charity?
Yes. Yeah. We have a sister organization called give.org, and what we do for verifying businesses for charities. So you can look, and they'll always do press releases and come out with new stuff that you can find on our local social media or the Better Business Bureaus as a whole. And they'll let you know which charities are accepting donations and what it is, where the money's going to, different things like that. But on give.org, you can look up a charity directly if you're being reached out by one, whether it be, they're outside your local grocery store, or you're getting an email, a phone, anything like that. And you can verify, is that charity legitimate? How long have they been around? What percent of their money goes to different things, what their core mission is, and get a little bit more information on them before you're just sending money to an organization. Because unfortunately, things like that happen. If there's a natural disaster, something's bad happened in your town and people are taking donations for the family, a down officer, anything like that. Unfortunately, scammers love to swoop in and make a GoFundMe, a page, a post that looks just like the original one and try to grab that in. So I can't stress enough how much it's worth to take a couple minutes and verify, because people want to help, but we want to make sure it's going to the right places.
Technology it's such a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing because it makes things easier, and we're able to get in touch with people. It makes paying things online easier, but it's also a curse because there's just so much out there, and scammers, because they are smart and they are tech savvy, they're able to go out there, they're able to pull these lists. So, they know if you've donated to animals or churches or anything like that, and they are able to use that and make up, these fake charities that look really legitimate. So
absolutely. I tell people all the time, even if you're not online personally, you don't have social media, you don't use it a lot, there is more information than you could ever imagine about you on the internet. And people find out things like that. If you like the ASPCA on Facebook or something like that, they're going to say, okay, she must donate to that. And they're going to reach out to you for that scam. If you're not on social media or anything like that, if anybody you've ever known has passed away and had an obituary, those are typically online. That tells you, where you live, how many cousins you have, all this kind of crazy information. If your grandfather passed away, they know that that's your great grandfather, and they might use that to call to say, hey, this is so-and-so, I'm a cousin of your great grandfather, I found, whatever the scam may be. Or any type of yearbooks. If a lot of people will donate them to the libraries will scan them in. It's a great way to check them out if you didn't have one. But people can also find, what year you graduated, who your mascot was, all that kind of stuff, which are a lot of security questions when we're verifying our identity through a bank, through any type of accounts like that. They'll ask, what was the name of your mascot, the high school you went to, anything like that. And
Right.
unfortunately, that information is out there. So we just want to be careful. And if you're not tech savvy, having a tech savvy person or business in your life. So whether it's somebody, a good friend you know that is more tech savvy than you, or just getting connected with your local Geek Squad, Apple store, something like that, where if something's to pop up, you know where to turn to. Some towns have like tech hours at the local library or council on aging that you can attend and pop in for some resources.
That's amazing. And you touch upon another thing as far as social media. So yeah, for those who aren't on social media, like a Facebook or an Instagram or LinkedIn, they may not be familiar with this, but certainly for those who are, I know Instagram specifically, if I'm on Instagram, there's ads. I mean, every couple posts, there are some
Always.
ads. If you click, it remembers, right? There's a reason why if you see that pair of shoes that you were looking at online, that pair of shoes follows you when you're on other websites, right? So, one of the things that I've learned is I'm very skeptical before I start clicking something on Instagram or Facebook. So what I'll do is if I like a product, I see what the name of it is, and then I'll go and I'll Google it and see if there's an actual website for that specific product, and if it is,
Absolutely.
then that's how I'll go and access it. But is there an easy kind of cheap way to be able to say, okay, yeah, this is a reputable company on Instagram or Facebook and this one isn't? Like, is there any way to look at those ads and see when one might be a scam?
Yeah, to tell an ad right away from a real ad from a fake ad, there's no like easy tell, but I will say that anybody can buy an ad. So that's how you get those scam ads, and that they follow you and you click that link and it takes you to LL Bean's website, but it's they spell it LLBEEN, and you don't notice. It looks very familiar, like very similar to the actual LL Bean website, but it's not. And then you go to order from it and it's a scam. So anytime you see an ad like that and you're interested, doing exactly what you do, typing it directly into Google and going to it that way, and then you can verify them on the Better Business Bureau. I will just type in, the business name / review, and then read through the reviews on Google, see if they're even a real website, how many people have ordered from them, what are their experiences, before I even go directly to their website and start looking at it, because you're right, they can just pull that information and make it really easy to scam you. So anybody can buy an ad. If it's too good to be true, that's one way to know it's a scam. And then verifying through Better Business Bureau, or just looking up the reviews.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. And so like if they're going to check out, I know that usually there's like a little lock and key that says like trusted or verified. So are there things that people should be looking for at checkout when they're purchasing online?
Purchasing online, yeah, I would always do it with a credit card. That's one way to really help rather than a debit card. And then, like you said, look for that little secure key. Though any type of business can kind of just pop that in. That doesn't guarantee it's secured. So what we were talking about before, just verifying that business before you get to that checkout point. Checking out with a credit card really helps. It's a little bit easier to cancel a charge on a credit card than a debit card, because if you're putting in your debit card information, it's not a legitimate business and they can just drain that bank account in minutes. Where checking, at least you can cancel those charges and it's pulling your credit, not directly from your bank.
Right. Okay, perfect. And as we wrap up, because this is some great information, and I know that you're going to give all of your contact details so that if folks have any other questions, they can get in contact with you directly. But I would love to hear what you have to say if someone is a victim of a scam. What are the proper steps that they should take?
Absolutely. So if you do get scammed, it's so important to report it and to talk about it if you feel comfortable. You can report it to Better Business Bureau has a scam tracker. You can report it right there. Our internal investigators will take a look at it and see what we can do. If it's something where it's you've lost a lot of money, you sent gift cards somewhere, anything like that, you can report it to us. You can also see what scams are happening in your area. You can put in your zip code and stay up to date on what's happening in your community, and then look at the tips and tricks on how to avoid those certain scams. you can report it to the Office of Consumer Affairs. They deal with banking scams, lemon law, construction, different things like that. They have a lot of different offices under them. And they also have a great number, which will be in that resource card that I send to you. And if you call the Better Business Bureau, reach out to us, and it's not a scam we can help with, we are really connected with our partner agencies. Like I said, the Office of Consumer Affairs, the Attorney General's Office, IRS for tax scams. Federal Trade Commission is a great place to report any type of phone scams too. You can let them know what number it keeps calling you, and they'll check it out and get that and put on the scam list so that it can't go through next time.
Okay, that's all great to know. I will admit, I did not know that. And I might have a few numbers that need to be on that list as well, because my cell phone number is out there, and God knows some of these scammers make really good use of it. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for all of this information. I look forward to, sharing this with everyone and sharing that information card that you're going to deliver my way as
well. Yeah, and if anybody has any follow-up questions, they can find us through bbb.org. Or they can reach out to our office. You can call at any point. We have real life people locally that will answer, which is nice to talk through things with you. Like we said, if you're not as technologically savvy or anything like that, or if you just want to talk it through rather than doing it online, you can call and we can help you with that. You can do it right through bbb.org. Our phone number for the office is 508-652-4800. And that will reach your local Better Business Bureau. We cover all of Eastern Mass, Maine, Vermont, and Rhode Island. But if you're outside that area, we can always direct you to your closest office if we can't help.
ABC Home Healthcare, committed to life at home.
Call 781-245-1880.